Okay, what we've got here is a 2005 Toyota Camry 4-door. When you take a call on the phone and the customer says, well, I need to get my car up, and make sure you ask them if it's a 2-door, 4-door, what year it is, get all the information that you can. Go to your PDF file on your laptop in the office or wherever you happen to be. If you have a book, go to the book. If you notice, this book even says 2011. I usually don't update my book every year, because a lot of times a lot of these cars are pretty much all the same on from a 2000, I believe it's a 2002 or 2000 to 2011 or 12. It's the exact same way to open the car. It hasn't changed much, and it usually doesn't. About every 3 years you might want to update your book, but that's just my preference. Some guys are anal about stuff like that. If that's your case, then knock yourself out. It shows two different ways to open this car, and the first way that we're going to do is the way that I really do not like to open cars, like I'm getting ready to show you, but I will do it rather than using an airbag, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. But the first thing I'm going to do is wedge the door open. Now, we've looked at the image in the book, and it shows you the handle. This car has tinted windows, very hard to see, but you can look around to the front and I can see the handles right here. So it shows you putting this tool, a T35 tool, in this car just about right here. Now you may think, well, okay, I'll put it right here. Well, you go ahead and put it right there, but let me tell you what's right here. There's the bolt mechanism that hooks to this glass is right there. And if you wrap that tool around that bolt mechanism, you'll be peeling a door panel. So you want to do it exactly like the manual tells you to. I usually use a paint scraper to get down inside the window, because usually my wedge after a few years gets kind of worn on the end. These wedges do not come with high-tech tools. They have their own. They look pretty close to the same, but these I've had for probably 30 years. They're made by Sully. If you can get your hand on a set of these with handles like this, they're worth their weight in gold. So anyways, let's go ahead and just wedge the door. Now you don't want to over wedge the door, but you want to get it enough just to where you can get your tool in. You don't want to bend the trim on the car. Of course, that goes without saying, right? So we want to get up by the front. Now keep in mind, we just got to get this over and under this T35 tool, as you saw in the image. The difference in numbers, when you get your set of tools, you're going to find the difference in the numbers is the distance from here to here, where it has to go down and how far it has to go down in order to clear that window and not get hung up within the tool, within the gear mechanism of the door. Because trust me, I've got them hung up before and it really caused a lot of grief. So let's go ahead and get the tool down inside the door. Now once you clear this glass, easier said than done sometimes. Once you clear this glass, you will hear this. You'll hear a popping sound, and what it is this part of the tool popping through the glass. So I'm going to take the back one loose, which is going to apply a little bit of pressure here. So you got to kind of use wisdom when you're doing that. Use your fingers to push it down in, and you're going to hear this once it pops through. Let me be quiet and you see if you can hear this. You hear that? Okay, so now we're going to come up on the inside of the car. All right, the tool is come up on the inside of the car, and I've turned it around. Now let's go ahead and get a shot from the other side, and you're going to see how this tool actually opens this car. All right, as you can see, I've got the tool down in here now. You just be real careful with it, and you just pull it, and you're going to see that open that latch. And when it does, it's money in the bank. But I am looking down over the windshield right now to get this to actually open this car. And there you go. The other problem that you're going to have, and one of the reasons that I've said that I do not like this tool and avoid in every way humanly possible never to use this tool, is now I've got to get it out. Getting this tool out can be the nightmare of nightmares. Now this car has brand new tinted windows on it. And we do not want to scratch them. So there's several different ways that you can do that. You can use a thin piece of plastic like this, which I usually do, and put it back behind the tool, at least down underneath the window, and then turn your tool around and then begin to push it down. Now, as I said before, with this particular car, this glass here has the track that runs inside underneath this glass. There's a bolt here, and there's bolts other places too, but the one that's going to bother you the most is if you try to put that tool in right here. This tool, if you're going to use it, has to come in from the as close to here as you can get, because that's all the room that you've got to work with. If you get this tool wrapped around that bolt back there, I've actually even pulled these to the place I had to take the complete door panel off the car to get it out. And a lot of times you'll lose this little rubber piece right here. So I would encourage you to go ahead and take this rubber piece off and polish the end of that to where it is very smooth. Well, what we don't want to do is to scratch this man's tinted windows. So let's go ahead and we're just going to slip it back down in here. I'm actually going to use a wedge to actually do that. And it's not easy. And I'm not going to doctor this to where it looks easy to you, because I want you to learn to do this the right way. Okay, so now we're going to start pushing it down. I'm not going to slip something down in here, because then I put pressure against the glass and it makes it even harder. But I don't want to scratch the window tint either, or either, whichever, either, depending on what part of the country you're from, if you all know what I mean. All right, so I'm going to take this and put it in even down here as well. And as much as I can keep it, I don't want to push it down in the door, that's for dang sure. All right, so instead of pushing on the handle, I'm going to push on this. Okay, so that's protecting the tinted windows. Now as this goes down in, once I've cleared the window, then I can remove this. And you're going to hear it inside the door come loose from the back of that glass, because remember, it's twisted to the inside. There you go. Now it should come completely out from the other side. All right, so now what we're going to do is get this tool out from the outside. We've cleared the glass on the inside, and we're going to go ahead and just try to wedge this enough that it will come right straight up on the outside. And if you keep this tool up against the glass, a lot of the times I don't like putting a wedge in here. I do sometimes. Actually, I will, just for sake of time, because the less pressure that you have on this tool, the easier it is to maneuver the tool around. And one thing you want to make sure on some tools that you don't drop them down inside the door, because I've done that too, and that's always a delightful experience. Okay, so I've got pretty good clearance there. I can actually see down inside there. Not very well, but I can. But you're going to see that tool when it starts to clear there. Now keep in mind, the handle's right here, there's a bolt right there. So I know that, so I'm going to try to go forward with this tool. I'm going to use another wedge, excuse me for standing in front of you, and get up against the front of this car and try to wedge it too much. You want to be careful you don't bend the trim of the car. I've never done that, and I've opened thousands of cars, but that is always a possibility. So anyways, now I've got a pretty good view of the entire inside of the door. I can see the tool, and here she comes. Here she comes, and you can see it even starting to move this. There you go. Just be gentle with it, man. Okay, now when you're pulling this out, keep in mind you got that piece of blue rubber on the end of it. You'll end up losing it before it's over with, but the tool will pop right out. What's causing it is this being thicker than the crack that you have in the door, but try not to crack it as much as you can. And these people are in this car. Always clean your marks and stuff off the car. I know it sounds stupid, but believe you me, some guys are stupid, right? They won't. They'll leave it where it looks like crap, and they won't get any repeat business, and we don't want that. We want repeat business. So there you go. and that's this 2005. Now there's an alternative way to opening this car, and we're going to talk about that here in just a minute. Okay, this 2005, we've already showed you how to open it by using the what I call the over and under tool, which we've discussed extensively. The other option, which was not available so many years ago, a lot of guys are beginning to lean towards this airbag tool simply because it's quick and easy. But let me just advise you of one thing. If you spring this door, it's going to cost you a month's wages to put a new door on a car, and especially if you really screw it up bad. So I would be very, very careful with this tool. But anyways, the second option that it shows is to use your airbag. I'm not going to do it on this fella's car because we've already opened it, but just by squeezing the ball, you saw it on the Hyundai that we opened like that, and it just spreads the door. You only want to spread this just far enough to get this tool right here down inside. The problem that you would have on this particular car, and another reason that you may not want to use the airbag system on this car, is because number one, if it's at night, it's dark and it's tinted glass, you can't see the deal, and you can't push from here and look in the window at the same time. It makes it kind of hard to do. What I have done, like I've said to many of you guys, this is a husband and wife business. My wife rides with me a lot. I'll ask her if she'll stand there on there and tell me where I'm at on it, to where I can hit it and pull it. Sometimes you can see it, but most of the time you cannot. And depending on what state you're in different states, they have different tinting laws. But that's the option, I guess, number 2 or 1, whichever you choose. The lazy man's going to use the airbag. The guy that's going to take the chance with that, and I don't like that over and under tool either. But if you look at the older Toyota Camrys in the 90s, the only way to open that car, one of the only ways until this airbag, was this back door. Opening it from the back door, and I believe in the book, I don't remember what page it's on, but I'll pop it up on the screen as we're talking about this. That particular year, a Camry is an extremely hard car to open. I remember the first one that I ever tried to open, it took me, gosh man, it felt like hours to get that car open, because the locking mechanism inside the door is in between the skin of the door and the inside of the door. Then you got the door panel. Well, the place that you have to get to is inside by the door panel. You have to get in a little bitty hole like that, and you have to grab a hold of this bar and just move it forward, not lift it up. That would have been easy, but you had to clip onto it and move it forward. It was very, very hard to do. In an instance like that, I would take my chances, and I mean taking a chance, and use the airbag, and just keep your fingers crossed, because like I say, you tweak their door, you're going to be paying some money. But anyways, let's move on to the next vehicle. I hope you've learned something on this, and we'll see you on the next car.